friends, today is the day we are recapping my California trip, my budget, how much I spent, and I'm just gonna go through all the numbers and all the things with you. So this is my wallet slash planner that I took with me. I did post a flip through of what I brought and I'll link that up above if you want to see me just talk through it. But this is my Moterm A7 planner that I use as a wallet usually, and I took it with me on my trip and it worked super well. And now we get into the fun part. So this is the budget and expense tracking pages. So in my flip through, you saw me fill out these, but I filled them out incorrectly. I filled them out only with my budget, not my boyfriend's budget. So we'll go through and talk through what my boyfriend's budget was for each category. We'll start there. Let's zoom you in as well. Okay, so for lodging, I budgeted $400 and my boyfriend budgeted $420, and he budgeted $420 because he budgeted this amount after we had already booked everything. So we knew what the cost was gonna be, and it was going to be about $420 per person. So he just, you know, kind of used that and was like, well, I'm gonna budget $420. But I budgeted a long time ago, so I just budgeted $400, but I was only off by about $19, and he had $1.07 left in his budget. So that worked out really, really well. And we only paid for lodging in 3 places. So we had an Airbnb in Temecula, which is like Southern California wine country. We were there 2 nights, and that was our most expensive stay. And then Monterey, we had an Airbnb for 2 nights, which was much less expensive. And then we stayed in Solvang, California for 1 night, which was our cheapest place. And then everywhere else we either stayed with friends or my boyfriend had credit card or Marriott points that we used on Marriott hotels. So we stayed in, let's see, we stayed in 2 hotels. Yeah, we stayed in 2 hotels, and then we stayed with one of my friends and one of my cousins. So we did stay 4 other places. They were just all free to us. So that's why this was able to be so cheap, which I'll need to keep in mind for future travels, that I'll need to budget more for lodging if I'm doing this long of a trip without people that I know to stay with. So next up is food and drinks. So I budgeted mine separately, food and drinks, but then for this purpose, I decided to combine them. So I've had in total $840 set aside for food and drinks, which I think was like $50 a day for food and like $20 a day for alcohol. I can't remember. And then my boyfriend budgeted $720. So together we had $1,560 for food and drinks. And I tracked all of our meals, and you'll see some are highlighted and some are not. The highlighted ones are expenses that, like, so for Starbucks, this first breakfast, Colin, my boyfriend, paid for it. So we needed to split the check for like my food versus his food. And so it highlighted means that we put it into Splitwise, and Splitwise is an app where you can split expenses for a trip. So like if he paid $18.84, he could put that in, but then he could go in and say, of the $18.84, $8 of that was Kristen, the other 10 was me, and it like splits it up like that. And then at the end of the trip, it keeps track of, like, he paid for this, I paid for this, and at the end it like aggregates it and it says, okay, you owe each other like Kristen, you owe Colin $5 at the end of it because of how much you pay individually and how much you have to pay each other back. So that way you don't have to Venmo each other every single time you have a transaction. You just settle up once at the end of the trip. I hope that makes sense, but check out the app if you are traveling with somebody. It makes it really, really easy. But then things like this, McDonald's, we paid separately. So I wanted to have some way to track like if we're paying separately. And then like this dinner I paid for, so I just didn't highlight it because I paid for that one, but I'm missing one here. We did settle up on this little piece down there. So on this, I basically would just put where we were, what it was for, the amount that it cost, and then I started subtracting to see how much we had left of this $1,560, because that gave me a good idea of how much we had left for the rest of the trip. And we definitely underspent a lot in the beginning of the trip, and then we kind of balled out a little bit more towards the end because we knew we were underspending. So that is this first page of food and drink. And then I filled out a whole second page of food and drink. This dinner right here, my boyfriend paid for because it was our 1.5-year anniversary. So that's why that's not highlighted. And then this one is just more foods and drinks. And take this sticky note out. And then this is the last page. This one I knew there's one more. We did settle up on that one as well. So also don't judge. On the last day we ate McDonald's for both breakfast and lunch. yeah, we didn't put that in Splitwise because we paid separately, but I combined it because I was running out of lines. So I've already done the math, and in total for food and drink, we spent $1,628.05, which was over budget. I spent $843.26, so I was over by $3. And my boyfriend spent $784.79. He was over by $64. Some of that is because he put more money in entertainment than I did. And some of the things we did were entertainment. So like we went to a jazz bar and got drinks, and I coded that under food and drinks because that's how I budgeted. So we didn't really talk about that ahead of time. So you'll see, yes, he's over budget, but that's because he was probably thinking stuff like that would come out of his entertainment money. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's all money. So you'll see he really underspent in entertainment. And that kind of makes up for this. So that is what food and drink looked like. And now for entertainment, we paid for the kayak tour, which was a 1.5 hour tour, which was $110. The Redwood trains for an hour and a half tour was $80, and that's for 2 people, so we split it down the middle. The trolley tour was $83 in San Diego. The Callaway Winery wine tasting was $52 for both of us, and the Botea Winery was for the wine. We both got wine flights, and we shared a charcuterie board, so that was over $100, a little pricier there. And then Paradise Springs was the wine tasting we did in Santa Barbara, and that was $64. And the 17-mile drive was $10 to like get onto the drive. So in total for entertainment, we spent $505. I had budgeted $250, and Colin had budgeted $600, so we had a total of $850. And I was over by $2.63, and he was under budget by $347.38. And that again is probably because he would have put some of the like drink charges in entertainment, so it all evens out. So he was very under budget here. That was our first major under budget moment as I was budgeting through all of this. And if y'all are wondering, I filled these out like every other day kind of thing. I would just keep all our receipts back here, and then I would you know, track it all, and then we'd look at our bank statements and make sure there wasn't any additional transactions that we forgot about, and we just kind of pieced it together throughout the trip. And then I finalized this last night when our final charges hit. So that's kind of how I did it. And we had a lot of car rides, so when I wasn't driving, I would just be like working on this. So next is transportation, and we both budgeted $450, so we had a total of $900. And this is, I was only anticipating paying for the rental car and some Ubers and Lyfts. I did not think at all about parking, which was stupid. So luckily our rental car was way less than we thought it was going to be, so we had a lot of extra money. But we had to Lyft to the airport. We parked in Laguna Beach. We took a ferry to Coronado. We had some overnight parking because we thought it was included in the hotel, and it wasn't. Some parking for places we went to dinner, parking in downtown Santa Barbara, parking in Monterey, parking in Monterey again, parking in Santa Cruz, and then the rental car ended up being $592.57, which was way, way cheaper than we thought. And then the Lyft ride home, we did split as well. That was the last charge we were waiting for yesterday. So in total for transportation, we spent $743.37. So we both under budgeted about $78, which was great. So that was our next big under budget moment, especially for me, because I think I'd been over budget in every category so far. So that was good for me. And then gas, I budgeted $200 originally when this trip was supposed to be 16 days long and we were going to be doing more driving. And Colin budgeted $150, and this is where we super over budgeted. So we only spent $164 on gas, $165. So I was under budget by $117, and my boyfriend was under budget by about $68. So we just split all that down the middle. So that was a good win for me, especially for budgeting. So looking back, I would have just put this money, like some of this money in lodging, some in, I think I liked my food budget, so I probably wouldn't adjust it. We just balled out a little bit more at the end of the trip than I anticipated, so I'd probably just keep that the same. And then I would maybe add more to transportation for parking, but I was still under budget for transportation, so it worked out. Next is miscellaneous. This is our final category, and I budgeted $480 in miscellaneous, and Colin budgeted $100, so we had $580 total. And I put mine half of my money was in the bank and half was in cash. So I'll show you how much cash I have left at the end. But in miscellaneous, I spent that on some things at the airport. I needed, like, I forgot an adapter that I needed to have for my GoPro, which I ended up not using, so that was kind of a waste, but whatever. And I got some Dramamine because I get motion sick. We got some stuff at like a 7-Eleven. We got a cooler from Walmart and some ice. Any tips that we spent, I took out of here. We bought a deck of cards, some like Tide to Go, a mask, more tips, waters, kombucha. This is a big charge for $100, and that was because one of my friend that we were staying with in SLO had just had this really big thing happen at work, and she also let us stay with her for free and saved us a ton of money. So I got her a really nice bottle of wine from the winery we were at, so that's kind of what that is. We bought our only souvenirs at the kayaking place, which was great because I usually spend a lot of unnecessary money on souvenirs, so that was really good for us. The worst ice cream I've ever had in my life was that, which we did split because that was for 2 ice creams. More tips. We bought some like Grey Goose for drinks, more ice cream, waters. I got ice cream another day to redeem the terrible ice cream I had had the day before, and then like more kombucha and like water at that place. So we spent a total of $374.85. I spent $255 of that, probably because the bottle of wine, and Colin spent $119. So he over budgeted by about $19, and I under budgeted by $224. So I definitely had a lot in miscellaneous, which is good because this was supposed to be my buffer money. So it worked out. So in total, let's see how much we had originally budgeted for. And I want to fill out these. Let's fill out these first. So I'd filled out lodging already because it was pretty simple. So we budgeted $400 for night 1 and 2, but it was a little bit more. And then what's in blue is what we paid. We paid the same amount right down the middle. So that's just what I paid individually for those. So for food and drinks, I'm just going to go through and add up like how much we spent each day, and then we'll talk about it real quick. Okay, so for food and drink, this is kind of what it looks like. It looks a little messy. I would probably split this up differently if I did this sheet again. But basically, you'll see some days we underspent, some days we overspent a little, some days we overspent a lot. So it just kind of depends, but it all almost evened out. We were pretty on track with this one. So I'm just going to go through and add up entertainment. So entertainment, you'll see we didn't spend money every day. We spent money on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So half the days we did something entertainment-y, the other half we didn't. And that worked out for us as well. Transportation, we can probably just talk through because it's a little more simple. So we had anticipated the rental car being $800, but it was only about $600, which was awesome. And we both spent less than $300 on that. Ubers and Lyfts, we budgeted $100, and we only took 2. So that was $33.96 for one of them and $29.89 for the other. So we only spent $63.85 there. So I spent $31.93, and my boyfriend spent $31.92. So basically the same. And then the thing we did not account for was parking. So we didn't budget anything, but let's see how much that ended up being. So we spent $65.75 on parking. So I spent $32.88. He spent $32.87. So that was it for transportation. Next is gas. So there was only one day that we even went over the budget, which was the 11th day, and that's because we filled the entire tank. We were close to empty that day, so, and the gas was a little pricier. So that was gas. Miscellaneous is left. Day 11 we spent $16.54, and $9.22 of that was me, and $7.32 was him. All right, so those are all my trackers filled out. Sorry if that was boring, but I wanted to do that. But now we can go through and add up who all spent what. So, okay, so our total budget for the trip, let's add up all of our categories. So we had $820 for lodging. We had $1560 for food and drink. We had $850 for entertainment. We had $900 for transportation. We had $350 for gas, and we had $580 for miscellaneous. So our total budget was $5,060. So let's see how much of that was me versus my boyfriend. So for me, for miscellaneous, I had budgeted $480. For gas, I budgeted $200. Transportation was $450. Entertainment was $250. Food and drink was $840. And lodging was $400. So I budgeted $2,620 minus the rest of it. So that means my boyfriend budgeted $2,440 for the trip. So now let's see our total spent, the big moment. So I'll just take the spent totals here. So we did $837.86 on lodging. We did $1628.05 on food and drink. We did $505.25 on entertainment. We did $743.37 on transportation. We did $164.92 on gas and $374.85 on miscellaneous. So we are under budget and we only spent $4,254.30. And let's see what each of us spent individually. So I have those here as well, just to keep it simple. So I spent $255.47 on miscellaneous. Gas, I spent $82.46. Transportation, I spent $371.68. Entertainment, I spent $252.63. Food and drink, I spent $843.26. And drum roll, on lodging, I spent $418.93. So in total, I spent $2,224.43. And Colin spent $2,029.87. So I spent almost $200 more than him, which is on brand for me, so that's fine. But I had a bigger budget, so it works out. So let's see, Kay saved, how much did I save? So I had $2,620, and then I spent $2,224.43. So I saved $395.57. And my boyfriend saved $410.13. So we almost saved the exact amount, exact same amount, which is really interesting. So that is super, super fun and really satisfying to see. I've never in my life cash flowed a vacation, let alone been under budget on a vacation. So that is amazing. And we are going to stuff the rest of that money right now. So stay tuned if you want to see me stuff the almost $400 and where I'm going to put it. Last section of my planner I'll show y'all are my daily planning pages. So to give you an example, this is like a day. We were in Orange County in Temecula. It was sunny in the high 80s, and we put our budget and how much we spent and how much rollover we had. And so we kind of kept that up each day just to kind of show like how much money we were having left over, so we knew how much we could like ball out or not each day. So I'm not going to share like what's inside of these just because I want to keep some information private, but to give you an example of what I don't think I've done the last day yet. So our last travel day, my pages are sticking in the rings. There we go. It's just empty, and I'll add in the location and the weather, and we would fill out our schedule, where we ate, places we went, and then at the end of the day or a couple days later, we talk through some noteworthy moments, thorns and roses for the day. So that's the end of the planner. And then here is the cash that I didn't spend in my spending. This was my cash miscellaneous money, so I did track it on this little card here, and gave myself a $20 bill every day. And I'll insert some clips here if I haven't already of how I did that. Okay, so my day one cash spending, I only spent $5 at 7-Eleven, which means I have $15 of rollover. And today I'm going to be adding my day two money, which will just be a $20 bill out of this envelope. So now I'll have $35 going into day two. And that's how I'll handle my cash spending every day. But in cash left, I should have $134. So we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 125, 130, 131, 132, 133, and 134. So this is 134 of the 395 I saved from the trip. The rest of it is in my bank account. So that's why obviously you don't see it. So we are going to budget out and stuff this $395.57 today. So of this, I'm gonna leave $20.57 in the bank for a buffer, just to kind of get rid of the change, because some of the change is actually in my change jar. It's not actually in my account. We'll just keep it simple. We'll say that. So we have $375 to stuff, and I'm going to do $100 of that I'm gonna give to my next trip, which is going to be for my friend Lauren's wedding. So we're gonna do $115 in her wedding to fully fund our flights envelope. And then we'll put $100 into my general vacation fund, just because this is rollover from vacation. So I want to kind of put that back into it. And then another $160, we're just gonna kind of feel what we want to do. So that will go just to like sinking funds. Let me make sure I did my math right. Yes, I did. Great. Oh, you know what? I decided to take, because some of my money that I budgeted for the trip was for week 3 of June, which is the week I'm still currently in. So I decided to give myself $75 for June week 3 spending. I knew that looked high. 85 is going into my sinking funds. There we go. So we are not going to pull out the 75 for spending, and then we'll leave buffer in the bank. So we're only pulling out, or stuffing, $300. That works. Okay, so 300. Okay, so this should be $300. So we have 100, 200, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 95, 300. Okay, and some of it you'll see is prop money, and that's because I'm going to just transfer the money into my savings account and leave it there. And some of it will be in cash because I'll be stuffing it in real cash. So that is why we're doing all that. Love a mini cash envelope stuffing. Surprise mini stuffing. All right. So let's start with my friend's wedding. Also, I can take out my California trip and deconstruct this and just take all the prop money out because I won't need it anymore. So I'll be doing that after this video. So no longer need that. I'm also refreshing all my sinking funds for July, so be on the lookout for that. They'll correspond with my Etsy launch, relaunch, refresh, whatever for July. So lots of new things coming to the shop that I'm working on. So we're gonna add $115 to flights, which should get me fully funded. I'm gonna use all prop money because I'm just gonna transfer that straight into the savings account for this trip. So now we've got 100, 200, 250, 270, 280, 290, 295, and $300 in flights. So flights is fully funded, which is awesome because I really wanted to get that done and out of the way as soon as possible so I can book whenever I feel led to. So that is it for Big Blue, which is gonna get a little facelift soon. And then the rest are going into my yellow binder. Let's see if I can remember what I allocated everything for. really don't. Let me get my trackers out. Okay, I didn't do adventures or boyfriend or car maintenance or clothing, but I did do entertainment. So I'm going to put $20 in entertainment since, oops, not electronics either. Did I do electronics? Yes, I did $10. Let's start there. I'm all out of whack. Okay, so electronics we're adding $10. So now we have $30 in electronics. I'm trying to bulk this up a little bit more because I think I'm gonna need a new laptop charger soon, and those are expensive for Macs. So now we're gonna put $20 in entertainment. So now entertainment will have $30 also. Fitness and wellness, I decided to put 10 in, and let's see if there is a 10 already. There's not, so we'll do 2 5s. So now we have 20, 40, 45, and 50 in fitness and wellness, because I'm gonna need new pre-workout, and so I'll need to order that, and I wanted to add more money to this. So $50 there. Gifts is not going to get anything, and giving is not going to get anything. Household, I did decide to add 10, but we're out of 10, so I'm going to take this 10 and put in a 20. So now we have 20 in household. Kristen, I did decide to give myself $15 of the rollover, so we will take this 10 and this 5 and add that to the 20 I had. So now I have 20, 35 for me, which is nice because this was at nothing like when I got back from California. I'm not gonna add to medical. I think we did add 10 to self-care, but we don't have 10, so we're gonna take this 10 and put in a 20. So that's good. And then shopping is going to get this last 10. So now shopping has 20. So I think that's all except for vacation. Yes. So vacation is going to get this last 100, which I'm going to keep in the bank. I will start budgeting for my very next vacation literally in July. So I'll probably take this 100 and put it into that envelope. So I'm just gonna keep it in the bank for now. So now on vacation, we have 100, 150, 200, 220, and 225. I love to travel, so I think my channel is just becoming a personal budgeting / vacation budgeting channel because that is all that I do. So that is where I decided to put my almost $400 of rollover money. And in case y'all are curious, I am going into my 4th week of June right now, and I won't have a separate video, but I do have my spending money for the last week of June here that I pulled out at the beginning of the month. So I'll be doing $50 for groceries, $25 for eating out, 10, 15, 20 for flex funds, 20 for fun, and 20 for alcohol. And this will get me through the July 4th weekend because I won't have time to stuff my envelopes again until I get back. So yes, I need to keep this in order. So I'll be putting that in my wallet once I transform it back to my actual wallet from my vacation planner, and that will be my spending for the 4th week of June. And then come July, I am going to be showing you my brand new setup. I am printing some like test envelopes today to start setting up my new sinking funds. So the next time I stuff these, they're going to be in a new order, in new binders, and with new envelope designs that I will be selling on my Etsy store. So keep a lookout for that, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, y'all.